Okay, so hello on this fourth week of the project management for this project management our book using Room, and this week we're gonna explore risk management using Room, and then really the the minimum requirement for the project is really just to not fail, and then the way to systematically do that is these tools for risk management. Um, and then essentially, this is really about programming your attention to the most important risks. So the tools we're using here are really just to make sure that we are focusing our attention on the most important risks. So all these steps have that endpoint. First, we want to identify the risks as many as possible. Then we will prioritize them by risk scoring, and then we will plan out what we will do first to mitigate the risks, meaning to lower their probability or lower their impact, and then also to think in advance what we will do for our risk, um, our contingencies, risk, and then how we will implement those. And then also we could use Chrome for risk monitoring. So essentially, like how do we um, plan out for our future selves, how to focus. So we'll be discussing that in this chapter. So um, the two tools that I introduced in this chapter of our book are the risk breakdown structure and the risk register. So the risk breakdown structure is very similar to the work breakdown structure, but instead of risks or instead of work, we will have risks in that tree. So here's an example, and then maybe in this in this session we could create one actually, because I have an ongoing project right now, and I haven't done the risk register yet. So maybe that's something we could talk about. Maybe you could give your inputs on that. I'll explain to you the project after this section, and that could be our practice for this one. So as you see here, this is really just a like the workplace structure, but just thinking about what wrong things could happen. So this project is for establishing a genetic sequencing operation for a lab. So like we have biosafety here, security, PR risks, and just listed down the different risks for each of these sections. So these came from um, some blog posts and some papers that I've read. So I'm not experienced in this area. So what I had to do was to do some interviews. Like this one is an interview. I had some what you call this? I read some papers, read some forums, and this is a blog post. So these are my notes from that, and these are my sources for creating the risk breakdown structure. So once you have your risk breakdown structure, so the risk breakdown structure is your tool for risk identification. Now it's time to like to score them. So what I did here is simply to tag each risk. So here, these are the risks with a probability and an impact score. So here I just use the simple scoring of 1 to 3, 3 being the highest probability and also the highest impact. So at level 3 probability is that it's almost certain that it will happen. Level 1 probability is like it probably won't happen, and level 2 is somewhere in between. Level 3 impact is that it's a showstopper, meaning if it happens, that the project will fail. So level 1 impact is like it's, if it happens, is the project will lessen its quality, but it doesn't really stop the project. So, and then the score is really just a product of the probability and the impact score. So some of them just accept the risk. So I do that for each of these risks. So for this screenshot, I did this by myself, But you know, ideally, you want to check this with people who are experienced in this area. So, you know, how probable is this thing? So it's good to talk to people who have done a similar project in the past. I will, because this project is done. I mean, you have completed this project. So actually, some of my fears here were unfounded, and there were also some risks which we were not able to anticipate. So I will update this so that this could be a resource for future projects. So that's also another way of capturing your knowledge. You update your project documents after the project. So then the way I use Roam here is that I use queries. So I just do a query based on the page I made this on, and also the what you call this, the either the impact or the score. So in this one is like showstoppers, but not a top scoring risk. So this one is a top scoring risks. This one is a showstopper. The impact is 3, but the risk is not top scoring. So we'll create this later in our exercise. And then, so for each of those top scoring risks, or if you have the time for all the risks, you could think about already how do you respond to the risks. So there are two kinds of risk responses, or two categories. One is the mitigation, one is the contingency. So mitigation is you lower the impact or you lower the probability by doing certain actions. Contingency is like if this risk unfolds, what will you do? Because many of these contingencies require some planning and preparation. For instance, let me see, what's our contingency? If, for instance, our equipment gets lost, we have to buy a new equipment called a flow cell. And then that means we have to have some extra in our budget for this to be an actual contingency. Yeah, so just in case it happens, sometimes you just have to accept the risk. You know, if it happens, it happens. That's why you maybe just focus on mitigation because, you know, for instance, for us, we didn't have the budget for this. And then next is how do you actually prepare or help your future self focus on these things? So what I do is that for each level of risk, I schedule reviews. The highest scoring risks, I scheduled weekly reviews for them. And then the lower scoring risks have a proportional cadence of reviews. So for instance, this risk score of 6 or risk to the score of 6, I only review them like once a month. So that's basically what you call this, the process of using Roam for risk management. So first you identify risks using the risk breaking structure by, you know, ideally, you know, making use of the expertise of other people. So you don't have to rely on your own imagination. You actually rely on people's knowledge by interviewing them, by reading papers, by reading blog posts, and then prioritizing uh, the risks. So that you focus your attention more on the risks which are more impactful, and then that's it. That's basically it. So in this chapter, you could also see a demonstration of how I did this in Rome. So these are just screenshots of how we did that. And then actually, if you're game, we could go through the entire process for an actual project right now. Do you have any questions on this, Bruno?
Yes, I have one main question. If you go back to the risk score, I didn't get how you compute it.
It's just so 1 times 2 equals 2. 1 times 1 equals 1. So this is product.
Okay. It's a product.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. I thought it was an average. Score equal probability multiplied by score. And now,
Impact.
second question is it a general rule for this, or is it your formula?
In general, it's yeah, I've seen it's usually product impact times probability. That's the most common thing I've seen. I imagine it could also add it, but I think product is the more common way of doing it. But 1 to 3 is like some arbitrary thing I just picked up. You know, it could be some project managers use 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. You know, how they, I just find, you know, it's simpler to just do it 1 to 3.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments, Bruno?
In the review, if you can go back to the review, it was a little bit fast. I had the time to capture 1 per month for
okay, that one.
Above 6, I think. That was the risk review 9 and showstoppers. Okay. So 9, you do it every week. Okay. Yeah, okay. And then the next is 6, and you do every month. Does it mean that risk score 3, you just ignore it?
For this project, I chose to ignore it. So it's really up to you. It's like, you know, because you don't have infinite time, so you have to choose how you're going to use your time.
Mm-hmm. This is something I have never done. So for me, it's totally new.
Cool. Do you want to do an actual risk register?
Of course.
All right. So I have this project right now. Actually, so here, there are actually videos here where I started doing live project planning. So here you have here I did a live project initiation of this project called Resolve Crowdfunding. I'll show it to you. So Resolve Crowdfunding. So here's the project. And here are the different aspects of the project I already planned. The WBS, the project charter, and then the communications plan. So I'll show you the project charter so you get an idea of what this project is. So essentially, this project is it's a crowdfunding project. So we will do a crowdfunding campaign to raise $7,000 or higher through crowdfunding for Project Resolved, which is a project to enable labs in the Philippines to sequence SARS-CoV-2. So this will be possibly the first ever SARS-CoV-2 sequencing funded by the people. So, so here, this is like a personal. This is this what you call this? This template is for internal use. So I do this for projects which I don't necessarily need to show to people, but I just helpful for me to think through the project. For instance, like why am I doing this? It's helpful for me to find meaning and to be motivated to do this project long term by thinking about this way. So for instance, I think about this first as like, you know, from the standpoint of the emotional part of that animal part, which seeks like these seek status, seeks adventure, seeks camaraderie, all these like emotional aspects of being human. So for me, I mean, this is going to be an adventure. This is the first time I'm going to do crowdfunding. Um, so I also like being first in things. So that's very motivating for me, or for at least the part of me. I don't know. It's like it's just there. I need to accept it that this thing is motivating for me. But for the rational part, this is clearly something important because there's a lot of countries in the world which don't have genomic pathogen surveillance, who couldn't sequence SARS-CoV-2 and use that information to manage the pandemic. It's only UK, the US, and a few other rich countries that are doing this right now. But we've shown that it's already possible to do this at a low cost. Now it's just like, how could we fund this? So maybe crowdfunding could be a source of that. And also, this is also learning something new, a skill of crowdfunding. So I list down these things as like to ensure that I'm motivated across the entirety of the project. I also write here what will be my pitch for my team. So what's the core of my pitch to the team when I present this? So I talk about the impact, and then we already have momentum from the first phase of this project. Now we want to maximize this. This table, I talked about this in the previous session, so that I could think about how to make trade-offs here. Like for instance, the scope here is like we need to raise money. That's the scope, to raise money. But the schedule, right? When I was doing this plan, I was already thinking, if we could recruit a professional video producer of like crowdfunding videos, then I'm willing to delay the project so that they could create a good quality video. That's okay. So, at the get-go, I'm really thinking about that. I already aligned this, or the team should be aligned with this actually. Should have included this in my launch yesterday. Totally forgot about that. But anyhow, at least for me, it's clear. And then this WBS. So when I was doing this, and there's a video of me doing this, I started this part first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made the WBS.
You mean you are not going linearly from one end to the other. You start to feel where it's where you can do it easily, and then you focus later on the parts where it's harder to feel.
Yep. Yeah, because this one, it was easier for me to just do the WBS and block reference to stop. For instance, this is the WBS of that project. So, and then I just created this first before I place it here. So the milestones.
Mm-hmm. These documents is part of the book, or it's another space?
This is the, you could access this in the graph that I shared.
Okay. Okay.
So this is like going to be, I think this, I'm going to make this an example.
Yes. Okay.
Instead of the birthday, crowdfunding is probably something that everyone is familiar with. But it's an actual project, so maybe it's better than the more technical project that I showed in the first part, but also better than the birthday party because it's an actual project. So this is the milestones. So that's basically the what you call this, the project. And then the top level risks, as I was thinking about this, is that, for instance, as I was creating the work breakdown structure, I realized that the 80-20 here is really the creation of the video and the creation of the landing page. If we fail to make a good video and a good landing page, no matter how much we bring people in, or how much traffic we bring in, we could not convert those to donations if we don't have a good video and a good landing page. That's why we focused on, or the risks are these ones, and then if you look at the communications plan I made for this, you could also see that we focused the efforts on recruiting people who could create a good video and a landing page. So that's what that is what we did to ensure that we are focusing on the biggest risks. So, but I didn't make a risk breakdown structure yet, a detailed one. So maybe now that is something we could do here. So I just did here the RBS. So this one, not marketing. I just copied this from, like I asked, what was this? I think one of the, well, it's actually
Yeah,
a,
just a question.
yes,
The project, if it's made for Philippines, will it be in Spanish or in English?
English. So
English.
the Philippines has forgotten its Spanish roots.
Oh,
So
yes.
yes,
I've never
yes.
been there.
Yeah, we only we have like, well, not really forgotten because like we use cuchara, tinidor. These are like spoon and fork. Uh, we even have old Spanish words which the Spaniards no longer use. Like the glasses are anteojos, anteojos. We call it that. Um, but you know, we don't speak Spanish, but the
Oh,
culture is
okay.
very very. I guess it's more Mexican than actually Spanish. Um,
Okay.
anyhow,
Uh,
go ahead, Bruno. Any other questions?
no, my question was because the language could be a problem. That's why I was asking you.
No, it's going to be in English.
Okay.
Um, so now the RBS. So the only, you know, this project doesn't seem to be uh, it's not a risk management centric project. That's how I feel about this right now. It's mostly going to be communications, like because like the only risk that I got asking around from my interviews is like, if you're not marketing, it's a big risk because, you know, but you know, it's like I'm a very, well, my main business is actually digital marketing. So this is gonna be something I'm gonna be focusing on a lot. Um, so now I'll just copy these top level risks. Uh, yes,
If
Bruno.
I can stop you just 1 second, I have not done crowdfunding, but
Mm-hmm.
since you are manipulating money, you can imagine that, for example, some people can pledge money, but when the project is finished, they don't pay it.
Yes,
Or
yes.
you can imagine that the platform that you are using is not paying you the money because they see they find a reason for not paying, like for example, they consider that the group who started it is not didn't provide legal proof that they are allowed to collect funds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I mean
will.
it's big silly risk, but I mean it happened.
Yes, yes, definitely. So this is why I like doing these risk planning publicly or with other people, because just with
Uh-huh.
my own experience, I'm biased with the risk I've experienced. So I would never have thought of these risks. So you know,
Uh-huh.
in the first phase, you just want to put as many risks as possible, and then later on, you
Okay.
want to analyze them. So what are really the real risks? So right now, I don't know yet what those are. Um, any other risks top of mind, Bruno, that you could think of?
uh, the risk is that maybe people are not convinced because they they don't see that it's doable. I mean, I know nothing about COVID sequencing, but when you show me the project, my reaction would be that it must cost a lot more than that.
Mm.
So, will you raise enough for doing the project itself?
That's a concern. Okay. Well, we have to raise. Our target is 7,800 euros.
Yeah, yes. That looks very little for me. I don't know. I know nothing about sequencing. Maybe it's not so expensive than that, but
Yeah,
I
it's
would have imagined it's much more than that.
yeah, it's yeah, maybe we have to explain because like it's very recent that sequencing has become this affordable. So I guess we have to explain that
Yeah, I
because
think
there's a new
that's something you need really to explain because yes,
yeah.
at least that would be my objection if I was joining such an initiative. I would say, wait, there is no point of gathering money if it's not enough. So maybe in your goals to put a sufficient level that to cover the risk of the sequencing itself. Imagine that, for example, the lab to which you give the sequencing to do, they are not able to do it or they fail to do it. It means you will have failed the whole project because of the risk of the project of doing the sequencing itself.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you should raise a little bit more to be sure that you can do maybe 2 sequencing like this. If one is failed, the other works.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe yeah. So because our stretch goal is actually let me show you the just to give you an idea of the project. So this is phase 2 of the project because phase 1 we already actually accomplished it, meaning we actually showed that this is possible, and it only took us 1,500 euros because what was we were that what is what we were able to raise, and we were able to sequence just last March 9 the
Oh,
for the first time, and it was like the first time that SARS-CoV-2 was sequenced by a volunteer team. So and but the what you call this the costs. Let me show you the estimates. So it's either $7,800 or $11,800. But if we get
yes.
the higher one, it's going to be lower per sample because this one is like because of the batch. This is a bigger batch recording using the same equipment, so it's going to be lower. So maybe we could aim for this. So we have the lower and the higher, and then the more we raise, the more labs we could help. So
Yeah. So
um,
the one of the risk would be to not reach the stretch goal.
mm,
Because if you have a stretch goal, somewhere you want to reach the stretch goal. You don't want to reach the first goal.
mhm.
So the risk is to reach the goal, but not the stretch goal.
Yep. Yeah.
To raise 7,000, but to not raise 10,000,
Yeah.
11,000.
Yeah. So in that case, anyway, and other risks you foresee?
No, that's enough. We have a lot to work now.
Cool. So let's just use these risks that you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
for creating the RBS. I will transfer these somewhere so that everything is in the RBS, I think I'll just do this. I'll just transfer this to today, our session today. And then risks. And then I'll just transfer all of these here. So that this one is clean. So now I will just block reference these ones here. So now let's see if we could categorize these risks. So people, these are, I would categorize these as
Financial risk.
financial, that's correct.
Yeah.
This one, communications, I think.
Not marketing was non-marketing in, yeah, okay.
Yeah, not
Okay.
doing marketing.
Yes. Not doing marketing. Okay, not doing enough. Okay, yeah, not doing good one. Because you will surely do. Okay. So for example, people pledge but don't pay. It will surely happen, but almost no impact, because it will be a minority of people. It will not be all together.
So let's say this one would be this
P2,
will be certain. So probability is 3, I guess. Is that almost
okay,
certain?
let's say yes, 3 and impact 1.
Impact 1. So the score is 3.
Yes. And IP1. Impact.
Sorry. This is I1. There you go.
I1. Okay.
Okay. Platform does not pay the money. Well, this is not. I don't think it's probable since
I think it's very low. So probability 1. But of course, the impact would be terrible. So it will be I3.
Yes.
So
S3.
S3. I3.
I always
for
forget the I.
Impact.
Yeah.
It proves I understand.
That's right.
Okay, not reaching the stretch goal. That's P2, I guess. Not reaching the stretch goal. Stretch goal. I'm like you. I do the easiest ones, and then I'm left with those I have more difficulty. And the impact would be 2.
This is 1, because the project will still be okay, even if you don't risk. So this is just 1.
Yeah, I would put 2.
Okay.
Because you see, let's go. If you put 1, the score will be 2.
Yes.
And a score of 2 would be less than people pledge but don't pay, which we considered was not very important, because we assume that it will not be many people, so it will be marginal impact. While reaching the stretch goal is, for me, it's really, the stretch goal is there because that's what we really want.
Yeah. So it's because the impact is higher because the importance is higher. I guess that's the okay. So this is score is 4.
Yeah, it makes more sense because now we see this as a bigger risk than the 2 others.
So which ones do you? target. It's called target risk, so that they're
Yes.
under one category.
Yes. And not reaching the goal, I don't know. Now
Well,
that's,
this is a huge impact. Yeah,
of course,
maybe.
the impact is 3.
Yes, yeah,
That's sure. But how much is the probability? I don't know.
yeah. That one is because like this is the first time we're doing it. I'm gonna say it's gonna be
I think the amount is pretty small
mhm. It's be one.
considering the importance. So I think you should be able to get it.
Mhm.
Uh,
And you know,
no,
we also have backups. We're also raising money from other sources, so it's not like we're gonna die if we are failing this. So the project will still continue.
yeah, you can imagine also that okay, it's you raised from Philippines, but maybe if it's in English, you will have some friends from outside that could contribute as well.
Mhm.
So I see one risk now
Mhm.
uh, is not to push enough for uh, reaching the goals. You see, I've been in several successful crowdfunding campaigns,
Mhm.
uh, not as a not as a, in the project, but as a contributor,
Mhm.
and I can see that the most successful campaigns I've been, they reach the goal almost immediately.
Mm. And then
Okay,
people wanna just contribute more.
and then they push people to reach the stretch goal. But the
Mm.
stretch goal is a lot higher
That's interesting.
than your. Okay, you have a first goal, which is the feasibility of the project.
Yeah, yeah.
And how I see you, you are focused on the 7,000. Okay, but what the people have in mind is the stretch goal. That's what they really want to have. So
Mm.
maybe only one stretch goal is maybe a little bit difficult, but maybe you could have a second stretch goal, okay, at $50,000. And the second stretch goal is to hire one person to do the test again every 3 months.
No, like what we'll do is like we will support 5 labs instead of one. That's gonna be it. We're gonna so instead
Okay,
of
why not? But
yeah.
you get the idea. You get the idea is to make several stretch goals. Okay,
Yes, yes. That's very nice. That's very good insight. Thank you so much for that.
and then when you do that, the people are pushing,
Mm, mhm.
So the first stretch goal is almost done, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
keep pushing by sending mails, by asking people to propagate to their friends, and so on and so on and so on. And it requires a lot of effort. I mean, it's not going to happen even if you have a good video, even if you have a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
landing page. It will not going to happen if you don't keep pushing.
Yes, yes.
But then you reach a totally different goal,
Hmm.
which is uh, much more ambitious, I would say.
That's right. That's right. That's a very
I'm now in one campaign, which is totally silly. Let me check if I can give you the link. Uh, I don't remember the name of the platform. What is the platform? Is the most common one?
Kickstarter, Indiegogo.
Kickstarter. Yes, yeah,
Mm.
Kickstarter. That's where I am. I have this thing, Kickstarter. Okay, let's go there. And this campaign is just for books, okay?
Mm.
And only for books, they raise $600,000. I mean, it's totally silly
Yeah,
when you
maybe
think of.
we're too unambitious, huh? Our ambitions are too low. You know, maybe we should have bigger
Uh,
plans. You know.
take take a look at this guy, because maybe it will show you more the structure of the stretch goals.
Mm-hmm.
But that may be a risk, is that your ambition is too low.
That's
Maybe
right.
that's a good risk. That's a
That's
good
right.
risk to add.
That's right. We are leaving. What's the saying? Leaving something on the table.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you are leaving money on the table.
Leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll. Where's this? So 10, 26.
I don't know. Somewhere you can see the stretch goals.
26.
And
Wow, 3,000 backers. Okay.
another one I participated, but I think it was almost a ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a very good memory of it. Was Fluent Forever. And this one raised, I think it was 500,000. That's for an app for learning languages. But not only the guy, he made this campaign for raising funds, but he did another campaign afterward. There is another platform. So you have Kickstarter for the first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have a second platform, which is helping you to keep collecting money after the period of the first crowdfunding is finished.
Mm.
So you can do a second crowdfunding if you like, on top, piggyback on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was excessive, because he was keeping emailing us and sending mails and sending mails and sending mails and say pay, pay, pay. That was too much. But what it proves is that people are ready to make
Mm.
a lot of work after the campaign starts.
This is nice. This one is nice. We could make like, 2 labs, 3 labs, something like that.
Yeah, and maybe be prepared for the next. Be prepared for the next year variants,
Yes,
because you
yes.
never know. But with this kind of sickness, there will be a new variant coming, and maybe one of the goals is to keep enough money somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can react like a first responder.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a new threat coming. I don't know. I'm just ideating. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's
But
a good idea. Like to have a because like we're just thinking of the Philippines right now. It's like what geographically when I think of like for instance Africa as well, and then also temporally when I think of like next year. Those are interesting stretches.
yeah, yes, yes. So that's the risk. I don't. So the risk of not of ambitions too low. I don't know if it's because it's not it has no impact on the project.
Well, it's
Really.
if the project could have been bigger or it could have produced something more, and then we didn't do it just because we didn't plan it. So it's a failure of project management. It's a failure of imagination. This is the other side of risk, which is luck. How do you actually systematize the your increase of luck? And this part of it, like to be ready for possible uh, the possible upside. So this is great. You know, we have to think about this. This is the other side of risk.
Yes. Yes.
Cool, cool. Um, any other thoughts, Bruno?
Oh, it's enough. I give I give you work for more time. You
Yes,
have
yes.
now more work than you had before.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you know, yeah, just just in case there are more ideas there. But
Yeah.
so this one now, so we could start with this. Let's just use these ones so that and I'll
Mhm.
work on the other ones. So now um, we want to do um, a risk register. So let me just create a risk register here. Let me just place this in the sidebar. So this one is essentially a query of, I guess, an and query. So here you want to show um, the RBS and then P uh, S9, yes, S9, zero results. We don't have 9. So just in case we'll have that in the future, I'll copy that. So we have the 6A. I'm sure we have 6.
Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous because you don't have uh, the intervals. So there could be an 8 and you would have missed it. Is it?
Yes, yes. I should play. So no, there couldn't be an 8 because we don't have a 4. It only happens if like have a. So you have 3 3. The next one is 6 3 2. So now we have 4 here.
Okay, okay. I got your system. I got your ID. Because
Yep.
you are thinking, which is true, that some values are not possible
Mm-hmm.
because they are not multiples of the.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And then 3. So far these are the ones which we have. So now, so this is essentially the page I'll be looking at to say, okay, this. So this is the most important goal right now, not reaching the stretch goal. Actually, I want to make this a bigger thing to focus on because of what could be. Um, so now just to practice this, Bruno, uh, what do you think could be our um, mitigation here?
Just 1 second. I'm completing your table. So you must do a query for 9. You must do a query for 6.
Mm-hmm. Let's do let's do that here.
You must do a query for 4, for 3.
2 and 1.
Yeah. But 2 and 1 we can almost ignore from the beginning because
Yeah, yeah,
it's not worth listing.
yep,
But okay, so we have 2 and 2 of them are empty.
yep.
But just to have a general, be sure that we are not missing one. You see, if you are changing the values, the risk can move between
Mm-hmm.
the queries.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have all this, and what should we do?
Next is like to plan out our contingencies and mitigation because that would have an impact on our WBS. Like
Yes.
when we were just talking earlier, when you said maybe your ambition is too low. I already added this. I don't know if you noticed it, but I added this to do tomorrow, because it's like I just found out like I missed this important aspect. Maybe we were too conservative in our ambitions, no?
Yes, 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 yes,
So
yes.
so whatever comes out of here, we will also place in our WBS. This will be, you know, tasks. This will be converted to tasks. For instance,
Yeah.
not reaching the stretch goal. How do you think we could mitigate this risk? Mitigation means how do you lower the probability, or how do you lower the impact?
Yes, I think it's mitigation is really lower the impact. That's my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you reduce the probability, it will not show up anymore.
Or it will show up uh, in lesser versions of futures. It's like, maybe if probability 50%, in like 50% of the futures, possible futures, it will show up. So, but if you lower the probability, it will only show up in maybe what, 25%, something like that. That's how I think about risks and probability of risks. So it's not one to
Not
one.
reaching. I think for me, the main mitigation is the mail campaign.
The mail,
Mail campaign.
you mean email campaign, email.
Yes, email campaign.
So that one,
Because you need to have them prepared before, not on the day where you will send it.
so this is like reminding people to, hey, we're here. Yeah, this is like
Yeah, and try to get them to enroll to make it viral. What you want to reach is viral, a kind of virality. What you want, okay, you have one guy, he committed $50, okay?
mm-hmm.
What you want is that he forward this email to his brother, his cousin, his boss, to encourage them. So you see, that's an important thing. I spent $50 to support this cause. Now we are only $1,000 left from the stretch goal, which is much more interesting. Why don't you spend as well? Because in the stretch goal, there is something important, which is that the first goal is already obtained. So you are not anymore betting on something which is on the cloud, because some part will be done.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere you can say to the first people, we succeeded to reach the first goal. So your bet is now validated. You are going to spend $50. You pledge $50. If $50 will be spent. Mm-hmm. But now we have it's campaign starting. We have another goal, which is the stretch goal. So you are not asking them to pay again. What you ask them is to propagate it so that they enroll other people to pay.
That's very smart. Yeah.
So this mail and this, it's like a new campaign. You have to think a little bit in advance how you are going to explain it. Mm-hmm. Because now you are not explaining the first goal, you are explaining the stretch goal. The first goal is gone because it's already validated. Mm-hmm. But you are in a position of authority when you are in the second goal, because it's as if you had already done the first goal.
Yep.
You are no more a dreamer. You are somebody who has succeeded something. Mm-hmm. So that's where it's very interesting to see what people have done in other projects.
That's right. That's right. I wonder if there's I'm sure there's a course or something. Anyway, there's a part of my WBS to check out some crowdfunding forums. Yeah. We'll see. to get feedback. How about contingency? Any thoughts on contingency in this one?
Contingency would mean that you missed
You
that
missed
the
it.
risk,
So yeah,
you
risk
missed it.
happened. Yeah.
The risk happens.
So what will you do?
You miss the stretch goal.
Mhm.
Maybe one thing you can do is to start preparing for the next year campaign.
Mhm. So
because you don't want, basically you don't want to miss this goal. You have missed it, okay, but
yeah.
you don't want to have missed it forever.
Yeah. So so now I think, let's see. So you have your queries here.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're in the end point of the planning, which is like programming your attention. So for instance, we have our level, our S6, S6 or S4 risks. Um, so this is where I do the um, so maybe.
Oh, you are putting the date already. Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
like so that we review these risks. So maybe 20. So today is maybe just once a month would be, or maybe this is once a week. So we do our weekly meetings on Wednesdays for the team. So I could do this. I'm sure I'm sure there's an automated way of doing this with like smart blocks, but haven't gotten yet to study that. So let's do this manually for now. So so this is gonna
It's a
be.
little bit complex because in theory,
Mm-hmm.
you must program these meetings until the end of the project.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know yet the end of the project because you have wrote somewhere that the timing is flexible.
Mm-hmm. Now that we have a time, we have a initial project, what you call this, timeline, but
Okay.
just in case, so my main thing of changing this, or I'm open to changing this, for instance, if we get a assistance, like they will create like top level videos and help us with the campaign, but they say, hey, but we need more time. So in case it happens, I'm okay. So we will change the project. We will stretch the time to accommodate that because that's more important.
Yes.
The scope
Okay.
is
I
more important.
understand.
Yeah. So
So
this will
it's
change.
more that you are open to change more than having it means the timing is still important, but you are open to change it
Yes. Yes.
for a certain number of reasons.
Yep. So meaning when I change this, I will also
Mhm.
redo the planning. I will go back to the risk, go back to this schedule based
Okay.
on so it will change the project. So it will be cascade
Mhm.
to all the other aspects. But just go to each section here, and then that's it. So now the project is different. How will these change? So you have a systematic way of like updating the project based on how the charter changes.
Okay. So now you are putting the list of dates,
Mm-hmm.
and normally there should be the list of risk to review
Mm-hmm.
on this day.
Yep.
So April 7, and then what are you going to do? You put a query behind it.
Here, if actually I will just put S probably S4 would work because like you have here the but I could actually just I could also use this block
Or
here.
a block reference will be easier.
This could be this
Yes.
could be, I don't know if we could place it here. Let's see if that's how this looks like. That could be it. It doesn't look very aesthetic, but once you click on
No, it's not very.
7,
Yes.
it doesn't show there. Nah. I wonder what's the good way of doing this. Maybe just it could just be we could make this into a
I would have made a sub block of it.
alias or something like that. So
I would have made a sub block. Risk review, scope. I would have made a sub block. Look.
So meaning under this one?
Yeah. Scope. And then
something like that.
Maybe, or even one level lower with a scope or agenda, you see.
Okay. All right.
Agenda. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that looks good for me.
All
yeah,
right.
that's good. That's good.
Okay.
Because now you have the agenda and the time are at the same level.
So when we get to April 7, so we click risk review, we see this, and that's it.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That's quite good. That's quite good, I think.
All right. Nice. So that's basically
risk. I can take a screenshot.
Sure, go ahead, and then you have access to this as well.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good, interesting use. Yes. Okay. So now we have the agenda, the program attention. And what was the last one?
Let's see. I think that's basically it. That's we are complete in our risk planning.
Okay.
Let me go back to that.
Now, just let me just react on one thing.
Sure, please.
Just go back to the
risk.
On this day of the 4th of April.
The April 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Or April 7.
Sorry, 7. Yes. And if you look at which risk we have to monitor at that time, it is the risk of not reaching the stretch goal. And since this is really so important, reviewing once per month looks very not adequate.
Yes. Actually, this is once a week. March 31 next week, and then April 7 the week after.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, I remove what I said. Okay, so it works.
Yep.
So it works. It makes sense because every week I think it's the right schedule. Okay, so it makes sense. So if I was doing this project and I could see that this risk was appearing only once a month, my opinion would be that the risk assessment is wrong.
Yes.
And I should elevate the risks so that it appears every week.
Yep. So
yeah.
you just adjust.
That's a good result. Okay, I'm happy.
Cool. I'm happy as well with the discoveries that we had today in this one. I have some work to do. Any other questions or comments, Bruno?
No, I think the exercise was very interesting.
Cool. So I hope you also apply it to your project.
Yeah, yes. I will apply, that's for sure. Now I need to think a little bit about it because like the charter, it opens a new horizon. So that's interesting. But I need to review the video and look again. The the first thing we did, the work breakout
Breakdown structure. Mm-hmm.
That's something I knew already.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something which, okay, it was interesting, but basically it was something that I already do. The charter and the risk is something I have never done.
Cool.
So I have never been so far in project management.
All right. So looking forward to seeing your charter and your risk register.
Okay, very good.
Cool.
All right. Have a good day.
Okay. So thank you so much, Bruno. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.